Hello everyone. So UGC July 2018 result has been declared, and I would like to congratulate all those who have made it to the examination and who have finally achieved their NET certification or JRF certification. Congratulations to all of you. We've already discussed the entire answer key of paper 1 for NET. There were some corrections that need to be made. A total of 6 questions have been found where the answers given by us are different than the answers that the UGC have given. So it's very important that we compare those answers and see for ourselves whether the answers given by UGC officially are correct or the answers that we had provided are making more sense, and can we claim that the answers given by UGC are incorrect. So we'll be starting with these 6 questions. We'll be discussing all these 6 questions. I recommend very strongly that you go through the previous video wherein we have talked about the entire answer key of UGC NET paper 1, so that you have a clear understanding of where did you go wrong, what were the answers, where there's a discrepancy between UGC's answer key and the answer key provided by us. So the first question wherein a problem was found is, which are the following sequences of research steps is nearer to scientific methods? This was the question and these 4 options were given. The exact steps of the scientific method vary from source to source, but the general procedure is the same. The general procedure is based upon acquiring knowledge through observation and testing. The answer that we had provided in the previous video was fourth: identifying the causal factors, defining the problem, developing a hypothesis, selecting a sample, collecting data, and arriving at generalizations and conclusions. The answer that has been provided by UGC is second: perceiving the problem situation, locating the actual problem and its definition, hypothesizing, deducing the consequences of the suggested solution, and testing the hypothesis in action. Now, what are the problems with the fourth one and why is second one a more correct answer choice? First of all, identifying the causal factors and defining the problem should be reverse. That is, first of all, you identify and define the problem, and then you identify the causes behind that problem. So, this is the reason that this one stands incorrect. Lastly, the term generalizations has not been used in any book or in any source wherein we talk about the research steps of scientific methods. So, although we come at the conclusion towards the end, but the term generalization stands incorrect. On the other hand, in the second option, you are not coming to the conclusion. The second question, the second option does not talk about conclusion. That is why it looks incorrect. But that is not incorrect, and the reason for that is, let's say there are a total of 6 steps in research steps for scientific methods, and this particular second option, let's say it talks about 5 steps. So the sixth step, although has not been mentioned, but these 5 steps are correct in sequence, and the question talks about the sequence and does not talk about completeness of the research steps, but it only talks about the sequence of the options that have been given. In the second option that we have, all the sub options that are given are in correct sequence, but in the fourth one the options are not in the correct sequence. As I have mentioned, the first should be the second and the second should be the first, and that is the reason that the option given by answer option given by UGC NET is correct, and the answer option that was given by us stands incorrect. In which of the following activities potential for nurturing creative and critical thinking is relatively greater? Now, the question number that I have mentioned here is the same as the question number mentioned in the previous video, and that is why it is question number 10 here and not question number 2. The options are preparing research summary, presenting a seminar paper, participation in conference, and participation in workshop. Now the doubt which maximum of the students had was between third and fourth, and the reason that third one is correct and fourth one is incorrect is that a conference is a formal meeting where participants exchange their views on topics. This is the definition of a conference. Since it is a meeting which involves a discussion on a number of topics, it helps in enhancing the critical thinking and the creative thinking of the individual. Whereas in a workshop, what happens is you take part in the workshop and you focus on implementation of the steps that are provided to you. For example, if there is a workshop on assembling of phones, let's say this is the workshop assembling of phones, you are learning in the workshop how to assemble phones. Then in the workshop you will be actually assembling the phones and finding out for yourself what is the process of assembling the phones. So your creative as well as critical, especially the critical thinking part, is not affected in the workshop. But in the research conference, because you're involved in discussions on a certain topic, and therefore your creative and critical thinking is relatively greater when we're talking about a research conference and not a workshop. So the correct answer should be third and not fourth. Question 16. Differentiation between acceptance and non-acceptance of certain stimuli in classroom communication is the basis of what? The options are selective expectation of performance, selective affiliation to peer groups, attention, and morality. We are talking about communication. So, in non acceptance and acceptance of communication is effective only whenever there is minimal noise in the communication process. And attention is the only criteria or the only element which reduces noise in communication process, and therefore it increases the acceptance and non-acceptance of certain stimuli, and therefore selective attention is the most correct answer here. Question 27. Given below are two premises, four conclusions are drawn from them. Select the code that states validly drawn conclusions. You have to find out the correct conclusions. The first one is most of the dancers are physically fit. Most of the dancers are physically fit. So, whenever the terms some or most are used, then you draw this kind of diagram. Most of the singers are dancers. Most of the singers are dancers. Similar diagram that we have to draw here. So what is the conclusion? If we combine both of them, we can create something like this. Singers are dancers, most of them. Sorry, D here. And most of the dancers are physically fit. So D is to F is here. Now the conclusions are most of the singers are physically fit. This cannot be drawn here because here none of the singer is physically fit, therefore this is incorrect. Most of the dancers are singers. This is correct. Dancers, most of the dancers are singers. Most of the physically fit persons are dancers. This is also correct. Most of the physically fit persons are singers. Again, there is no connection between physically fit persons and singers. This is also incorrect. So the answer is B and C. In B and C, we have option number 2. So the correct option here is option number 2, B and C. Question 29, as taken from the original question paper, is if the proposition domestic animals are hardly ferocious is taken to be false. A lot of students have made a mistake here. It's taken to be false and not true. Now, if this is false, that means domestic animals are ferocious, because the false or incorrect statement says are hardly ferocious. That means the opposite statement would be domestic animals are ferocious, or most of the domestic animals are ferocious, or some of the domestic animals are ferocious. All these statements are going to be true. Which of the following proposition can be claimed to be certainly true? So anything which is in line with this is correct here. All domestic animals are ferocious. Is that correct? That can be correct. Most of the domestic animals are ferocious. Yes. No domestic animal is ferocious. This is incorrect because this is correct. This is in line with the statement that is given here. Domestic animals are hardly ferocious, and this has been taken to be incorrect. Some domestic animals are non-ferocious. This is also incorrect because if all domestic animals are ferocious, then there is no domestic animal which is not ferocious. Therefore, this is also incorrect. So the correct answer is 1, A and B. So this is the correct answer. A very easy question. A lot of students made mistake here by taking it as true and not false. The last question is, which of the following are the barriers to citizen-centric administration in India? Barriers to citizen-centric administration. Wooden and inflexible attitude of the civil servants. Civil servants are the ones who are responsible for administration, and if the civil servants are inflexible in their attitude or are bad in their attitude towards the citizens, then yes, it is a barrier. Ineffective implementation of laws and rules. Is that correct? Yes. Implementation of laws and rules is not effective. That means the citizens do not have access to administrators. That means it is a barrier to citizen-centric administration. Awareness of rights and duties of citizens. If the citizens are aware about their rights, then it's going to be more effective. The administration and citizen link is going to be more effective, and therefore it's not a barrier. It's actually a propagator or a supporter of citizen-centric administration. Lack of job opportunities for the youth, is that correct? See, lack of job opportunities is not connected with citizen-centric administration at all. You might try to connect it by saying that if the job opportunities are not there, then the people are not aware, or the people don't have any idea about administration, how the administration works, and all those things. But that is a very far-fetched connection that you're creating. Directly, it is not connected with citizen-centric administration at all, and therefore this is also incorrect, just because there is no connection between job opportunities as mentioned here and citizen-centric administration. So the answer is fourth, A and B only. A very good question, a very high quality question, because a lot of students marked A, B and D here. I even the paper that we could take out had also been marked as 3, but this is incorrect, just because D is not connected with the question of citizen-centric administration at all. That is why it is incorrect. So the answer is 4A and B only. That is the correct answer as given by the answer key. So that was all for all the corrections that were required and that we've already made. I hope you like this lesson. Please subscribe to my channel now. You can also go to the other channel that we have called as DU High, which is DU centric, and all the important examinations, whether it is NET, whether it is MCOM entrance, or whether it is BCom and economics honors basic videos on the course, all of them are being prepared and are being posted there. So you can take advantage of all those videos to understand the entire government examination or the DU examination process, and learn a lot of things about it, get a lot of clarity about it, which will be helpful in the future.